This is a follow-up video to a video which I made a little while ago, and it was about a YouTuber called Mr. Anime. His name in real life was Trey Sesler, or is Trey Sesler, and I made a video not defending him. I think a lot of people made the mistake of thinking that somehow I was defending him, but if you don't know, I'll try to sum it up quickly. Basically, Trey Sesler's family were found murdered, brutally murdered. His mother, his father, his brother, and all the household pets had all been shot dead, and he was arrested, supposedly on the way to commit another act of extreme atrocity, which was he was going to maybe go to a school or somewhere like that and start opening fire. And I think it took a lot of the community by surprise. I'm not just talking about like the anime reviewing community, I'm talking about just the YouTube community in general. People were really shocked by it, especially people that had watched his videos for years. I had watched his videos for years, and while I had suspicions that he was possibly medicated as the years went on for some sort of underlying psychological issue, I in no way saw this coming. I don't think anyone else really did. It was big news over in America, in the community that he was in, and I think it was in Texas. And people started highlighting the fact that he watched anime, and anime films are violent, and he also made little short films holding guns and acting out, shooting people and things like that. So the anime must be the cause of all of it, or what he was watching must be the cause of all of it. The usual rubbish that we get about people's actions being blamed on films and video games and things like that. I mean, and music, film, video games. I mean, this is a topic for another video, but art in general holds a mirror up to you. If you mimic something that you see, that film or that story or whatever it is, or that video game didn't make you do that. You would have done something else. You would have done something. You would have committed some other violent act. It didn't bring it out of you. It's just that was already there, and you may be like fixated on something that was in a film. That's not the filmmaker's fault, and it shouldn't mean that other people can't watch those films because you did that. All right. So I think that it's a real nonsense statement to say that anime or anything else, excuse me, art related, caused Trey to go and murder his family. Anyway, I made a video which was saying that I believe people needed to stop jumping to conclusions, and I'll link to it down below. I'm not going to take it down. A few people asked me about it. A few people got quite animated about it, and a few people got quite angry towards me about it because they felt that somehow I was defending him. Again, I wasn't defending him. I was defending his right to the presumption of innocence. And it's similar. This is similar to the last video I made about Jimmy Savile over here in Britain, who's been accused of being a paedophile or a sexual predator. You know, innocent until proven guilty. And I stand by absolutely everything I said in that video. Both the Jimmy Savile one, but especially the Trey Sesler one that I made before. Stand by everything that I said, because people were saying, well, it's obvious that he did it, and I said, well, it may look obvious, and yeah, it did look obvious that he had done it, but you have to maintain that presumption of innocence. There are plenty of people, plenty of examples throughout history where people have been found guilty of a crime they didn't commit, have been executed for a crime they didn't commit, and have even confessed to a crime that they didn't commit, and then been incarcerated for it or punished for it. So that was my point, was that, you know, the justice system is not perfect. In any country it's not perfect, and the protection of the accused is something which is absolutely integral to any fair and democratic justice system. If you start to just assume that people are guilty from the off, then you might as well just stop having juries, because people can just say, oh well, it's obvious that person did this. One of my friends, and it was quite a funny thing that he used to do, it was like a joke but we used to have debates about this because we would drive around and one of my friends would go, I'd arrest him. You know, just driving by someone in the street, I'd arrest him if I was a policeman. And I'd be like, what do you mean you'd arrest him? And he was like, well, I know he's done something. At some point he's done something. I don't know what it is, but you should just arrest him and send him to jail. He's definitely done something. And although I think it was a kind of a running gag, there are people that genuinely have that attitude, that just arrest certain people, that guilt is self-evident. And guilt is never self-evident. We've even had cases where people have been found guilty of crimes, maybe spent decades in jail based on forensic evidence. We've even had issues in this country especially, we've had issues where they've shown that in certain circumstances things like DNA evidence is not foolproof. There is actually no such thing as foolproof evidence. What you have to do is you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that someone is guilty. And it links in with my belief that, take Trey's case for example, right? He has now been found guilty. And what they've released, the reason I'm making this video is because they've released, a news channel in America has released video footage of him confessing to the crime. And I'll leave a link down to the video down below. It's quite chilling to watch. But again, just because he admitted it, just because he confessed to it, it doesn't mean that he was guilty in the first place. You know, he could have been very confused, could have been mentally ill. I suspect that he is mentally ill. Whether that mental illness has caused him to commit these terrible acts, I don't know. But I think it's certain that he's absolutely been psychologically disturbed. And it's certainly, at least his confession sounded more, the press had made out like it had been really heavily planned, and at least in his confession it sounded as if he'd been thinking about it, but he got drunk, killed his mother, and once he'd killed one member of his family, that was it. He'd crossed that line and he was just going to kill all of them. And his rationale for it was that he was going to do something terrible. He was going to go to a school or go to a public venue. He talked in this video about going to like a sport game, I can't remember if it was football or baseball or whatever, and just open up on the crowds there. And his rationale was that he didn't want his parents or his family, his brother, to live through the shame. So in his twisted mind, in some way he was saving them from pain that he was going to cause, because he was going to do something that he felt he was compelled to do. Now I think some people will jump on a phrase that he said in this video because of the whole anime thing, because they said to him, why did he stop, why didn't he go and carry out his plan to commit mass murder in a public venue? And he said that once he killed his family it seemed too real to him to maybe go and do it again. And I think people will look at that and they'll say, well, obviously he was living in a fantasy world because of anime. No, I think this is a young guy who, for whatever reason, we don't know, has got some serious mental health issues. And again, I disagree. A lot of people are like, oh, kill him, execute him, you know. I've made videos before about it. I don't think capital punishment works as a deterrent, and I don't think it helps us understand these people so that we can maybe identify how they identify people that may become killers later on in life, and try to help them and do something about it and try to avoid that. And it also says nothing good about ourselves collectively. That it says that basically we're saying that murder is okay under certain circumstances, and it's not okay. That's my belief. But yeah, sorry, I'm going off on tangents here. But the reason I want to make this video is because I got a lot of people asked if I would make a follow-up video to this to that video when he was going to inevitably be found guilty. And although I even looked at it and I said to myself, the guy's probably guilty, I was still saying, but I've got to presume he's innocent. You know, all the information that we have, it looks like he did it, but he might not have. Could have been someone else. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, will you make a video and apologise?" And no, I've got nothing to apologise for. I said what I said. I stand by it. No matter what, until someone has been proven beyond reasonable doubt in a court of law, in front of a jury, to be guilty of something, I don't think you can go around saying that people have actually done something. And I absolutely believe that, and I still do. And as I was going to say earlier on, that also, that I also believe that about people being named. Like Trey Sesler was named from the word go, and I don't believe that's right. I don't believe that someone should be named in the press until they've been found guilty. That's what I believe. However, and here's the interesting thing, I actually found a situation where I would probably have to personally say that I would make an exception to that rule, which is that there's been a terrible event down in Wales where a young girl has went missing, and I think we know that she's probably been murdered. And there's a man that's been arrested and charged with it, but they haven't found her body yet. But they released his image and they released his name and all that while they still held out hope that she was alive. So they wanted people to come forward who knew him, people who had maybe seen him around, anything, any bit of information that could lead them to hopefully finding her. And I have to say, under that situation, yeah, like I found myself looking at a belief that I had, which was that under no circumstances should somebody be named until they're found guilty. That under that circumstance, that it would be worth taking the chance to find a young girl alive against maybe casting dispersions about someone's character for the rest of their life. That's the one thing that I would say, you know, recently I've kind of softened on that belief. But with regards to the presumption of innocence, it's got to be. You've got to. You can't have this lynch mentality. You know, oh, he's definitely done it. Kill him. You know, it's. I think it's a sad state of affairs when we resort to that sort of barbarism. So anyway, just wanted to make that follow-up video about it. I'll leave some relevant links down below about the whole situation. It's tragic. It really is. It's very sad. I'm surprised that YouTube have left his videos up online. Not only is his channel still up, not only are his videos still there, but people are still commenting on them like every day. And that's really, although I don't believe in deleting comments and things like that in most circumstances, I don't know how much it's serving to have the comment section open, because it's troll bait. You know, people are saying some really horrible, terrible things, not about him, but making jokes about his family and stuff like that, and who all died. Anyway, so I'll leave some links down below, and that's just it. I just wanted to make this follow-up video. So if any of you disagree with me, let's have a civil debate about it. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good weekend.